Welcome to the Bible Quiz and Trivia channel. Today, we're diving into the depths of faith with 50 challenging questions that will test your knowledge and perhaps deepen your understanding. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our content. After the quiz, share your score in the comments. We love seeing how well you do. Are you ready? Let's get started. Question 1. What is the definition of faith according to Hebrews 11:1? A. Belief in God's Word. B. Trust in what we see. C. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. D. Complete understanding of the divine. Answer: C. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, highlighting faith as a firm assurance and conviction in what we cannot physically observe. Question 2. Who is the father of faith in the Bible? A. Moses. B. Abraham. C. Isaac. D. Jacob. B. Abraham. Abraham is often called the father of faith for his unwavering trust in God, exemplified by his willingness to obey God's command to sacrifice his son Isaac, as recounted throughout Genesis and referenced in Romans 4:11. Question 3. What did Jesus say faith as small as could move mountains? A. A mustard seed. B. A pebble. C. A grain of sand. D. A leaf. Answer: A. A mustard seed. Jesus taught that faith as small as a mustard seed could move mountains, emphasizing the power of even the smallest amount of genuine faith, as mentioned in Matthew 17:20. Question 4. In what book of the Bible is the Hall of Faith found? A. Romans. B. Hebrews. C. James. D. Galatians. Answer: B. Hebrews. The Hall of Faith is found in Hebrews 11, where numerous figures from the Old Testament are commended for their faith. Question 5. How did Jesus respond to the centurion's faith in Matthew 8? A. With surprise. B. With joy. C. By rebuking him. D. He marveled and praised it as the greatest in Israel. Answer: D. He marveled and praised it as the greatest in Israel. Jesus responded to the centurion's faith by marveling and stating that he had not found such great faith even in Israel, highlighting the centurion's understanding of authority and trust in Jesus' power, as described in Matthew 8:10. Question 6. Which Old Testament figure was credited with righteousness because of his faith? A. Noah. B. Moses. C. Abraham. D. David. Answer: C. Abraham. Abraham was credited with righteousness because of his faith in God's promises, foundational to the concept of justification by faith, as noted in Genesis 15:6 and reiterated in Romans 4:3. Question 7. What did Jesus often tell people after healing them regarding their faith? A. Your faith has made you well. B. Go and sin no more. C. You are blessed. D. Tell no one. Answer: A. Your faith has made you well. Jesus frequently attributed the healing that people received to their faith, affirming that their belief in his power was instrumental in their physical healing, as seen in multiple gospel accounts. Question 8. Who in the Bible walked on water because of faith, besides Jesus? A. John. B. Peter. C. Paul. D. James. Answer: B. Peter. Peter walked on water by faith when he saw Jesus doing so, although he began to sink when he doubted, as recorded in Matthew 14:29. Question 9. What woman in the New Testament is commended for her great faith because she touched Jesus' garment? A. The Syrophoenician woman. B. Mary Magdalene. C. The bleeding woman. D. Martha. Answer C. The bleeding woman. The bleeding woman is commended for her faith, which Jesus acknowledges when he tells her, "Your faith has healed you," after she touched his garment believing it would make her well, detailed in Mark 5:34. Question 10. What prophet in the Old Testament performed miracles by faith, including parting a body of water? A. Elijah. B. Elisha. C. Isaiah. D. Jeremiah. Answer A. Elijah. Elijah performed multiple miracles by faith, including parting the waters of the Jordan River, as described in 2 Kings 2-8. Question 11. How did Jesus describe the faith of the Canaanite woman in Matthew 15? A. Weak. B. Great. C. Insufficient. D. Misguided. Answer B. Great. Jesus described the Canaanite woman's faith as great due to her persistent and humble plea for her daughter's healing, a commendation recorded in Matthew 15:28. Question 12. What Old Testament figure is mentioned in Hebrews 11 for sacrificing his son in faith? A. Jacob. B. Isaac. C. Abraham. D. Joseph. Answer C. Abraham. Abraham's willingness to sacrifice Isaac, acting in obedience to God's command as a test of faith, is highlighted in Hebrews 11:17 as an exemplary act of faith. Question 13. What did the Apostle Paul say about faith, hope, and love? A. They are the greatest of all virtues. B. Love is the greatest of these. C. They will all pass away. D. They are equal. Answer B. Love is the greatest of these. In 1 Corinthians 13:13, Paul emphasizes that while faith, hope, and love abide, the greatest of these is love, underscoring the preeminence of love among the virtues. Question 14. Which book of the Bible emphasizes living by faith and not by sight? A. Romans. B. 2 Corinthians. C. 1 Peter. D. James. Answer B. 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 5-7 explicitly instructs believers to live by faith, not by sight, highlighting a fundamental principle of Christian living. Question 15. What is the shield of faith mentioned in the armor of God? A. A metaphor for God's protection. B. A physical shield. C. A spiritual gift. D. A technique for prayer. Answer A. A metaphor for God's protection. The shield of faith, as part of the armor of God described in Ephesians 6:16, is a metaphor for the believer's need to trust in God's protection against spiritual attacks. Question 16. How did Rahab the harlot demonstrate her faith according to the New Testament? A. By hiding the spies. B. By preaching to her people. C. By leaving Jericho. D. By sacrificing to God. Answer A. By hiding the spies. Rahab demonstrated her faith by hiding the Israelite spies sent to Jericho, an act of faith in the God of Israel that led to her family's salvation, as recounted in Joshua 2 and commended in Hebrews 11:31. Question 17. What did Jesus say to Peter when he began to sink while walking on water? A. You have little faith, why did you doubt? B. Stand up. C. Come to me. D. Do not fear. Answer A. You of little faith. Why did you doubt? When Peter began to sink while walking on water, Jesus rebuked him for his doubt and little faith, emphasizing the need for steadfast belief, as mentioned in Matthew 14:31. Question 18. Who doubted Jesus' resurrection until he could see and touch Jesus' wounds? A. Thomas. B. James. C. Philip. D. Bartholomew. Answer A. Thomas. Thomas doubted the resurrection of Jesus until he could see and touch Jesus' wounds, earning him the nickname Doubting Thomas, as described in John 20:24-29. Question 19. According to James, what must faith be accompanied by? A. Charity. B. Works. C. Prayer. D. Fasting. Answer B. Works. James famously argues that faith without works is dead, stressing that genuine faith must manifest itself through actions, as detailed in James 2:17. Question 20. What happens to faith without works, according to the book of James? A. It grows stronger. B. It is sufficient. C. It becomes perfect. D. It is dead. Answer D. It is dead. Faith without works is described as dead in the book of James, emphasizing the necessity of living out one's faith through righteous deeds, a theme central to James 2:26. Question 21. What Old Testament story is often cited as an example of unwavering faith facing adversity? A. The Exodus of Israel from Egypt. B. Job's perseverance. C. Daniel in the lion's den. D. Jonah and the whale. Answer B. Job's perseverance. Job's story is often cited as a prime example of unwavering faith facing adversity, as despite severe trials and losses, Job maintained his trust in God and his integrity, as detailed throughout the book of Job. Question 22. Who prayed for increased faith in Luke 17? A. The apostles. B. The Pharisees. C. The Samaritans. D. The Gentiles. Answer A. The apostles. The apostles asked Jesus to increase their faith in Luke 17:5, recognizing their need for greater faith to fulfill the responsibilities of their ministry. Question 23. How is Abraham's faith tested in the book of Genesis? A. He is asked to leave his homeland. B. He is asked to sacrifice his son Isaac. C. He is asked to battle kings. D. He is asked to build an ark. Answer B. He is asked to sacrifice his son Isaac. Abraham's faith was tested when God asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac, a test he passed by showing his willingness to obey God fully, as recounted in Genesis 22. Question 24. Which psalm is known for its expression of trust and faith in God as a shepherd? A. Psalm 23. B. Psalm 91. C. Psalm 119. D. Psalm 150. Answer A. Psalm 23. Psalm 23, known for "The Lord is my shepherd," is a profound expression of trust and faith in God as a shepherd who guides and provides for his people. Question 25. Who in the Bible is known for building an ark by faith? A. Moses. B. Noah. C. Solomon. D. Joshua. Answer B. Noah. Noah is known for building an ark by faith, as he obeyed God's instructions to build an ark in preparation for the flood, a monumental act of faith when there was no sign of rain, as detailed in Genesis 6. Question 26. What New Testament figure is noted for his lack of faith when he doubted a vision about unclean animals? A. Paul. B. Peter. C. John. D. Thomas. Answer: B. Peter. Peter initially doubted the vision about unclean animals in Acts 10, struggling with the directive that conflicted with Jewish dietary laws, until he understood it meant the gospel was for Gentiles too. Question 27. How did the Israelites demonstrate their faith when crossing the Jordan River? A. By carrying the Ark of the Covenant into the river. B. By offering sacrifices at the riverbank. C. By praying for the waters to part. D. By swimming across. Answer: A. By carrying the Ark of the Covenant into the river. The Israelites demonstrated their faith as the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant stepped into the Jordan River, causing the waters to stop flowing, allowing the people to cross on dry ground, as described in Joshua 3. Question 28. What did Paul and Silas do by faith while imprisoned? A. They escaped. B. They sang hymns and prayed. C. They converted the jailer. D. They remained silent. Answer: B. They sang hymns and prayed. Paul and Silas, by faith, sang hymns and prayed loudly in prison, an act of faith that led to an earthquake that opened the prison doors, as recounted in Acts 16:25-26. Question 29. How did Daniel demonstrate his faith when prohibited from praying? A. He prayed in secret. B. He stopped praying. C. He prayed openly despite the decree. D. He left Babylon. Answer: C. He prayed openly despite the decree. Daniel demonstrated his faith by continuing to pray openly 3 times a day, even after a decree was issued prohibiting prayer to anyone except the king, leading to the sentencing to the lion's den, as detailed in Daniel 6. Question 30. What story in Daniel exemplifies faith in the face of death in a fiery furnace? A. Daniel's interpretation of dreams. B. The writing on the wall. C. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. D. Daniel's fast. Answer: C. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were thrown into a fiery furnace for refusing to worship an image made by King Nebuchadnezzar, but were saved by their faith in God, exemplifies faith in the face of death, as recounted in Daniel 3. Question 31. Who was healed because of her faith and declared to have great faith by Jesus? The bleeding woman or the Syrophoenician woman? A. The bleeding woman. B. The Syrophoenician woman. C. Both. D. Neither. Answer: C. Both. Both the bleeding woman and the Syrophoenician woman were healed because of their faith and praised by Jesus for their great faith. The bleeding woman's story is in Mark 5:34, and the Syrophoenician woman's story is in Matthew 15:28. Question 32. What did Jesus say about faith that could uproot trees? A. Faith like a mustard seed can move mountains. B. Faith can plant gardens. C. Faith can uproot fig trees. D. Faith can turn stones to bread. Answer: A. Faith like a mustard seed can move mountains. Jesus taught that if one has faith as small as a mustard seed, they can say to a mountain, or a mulberry tree in some accounts, "Move from here to there," and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for them, as mentioned in Matthew 17:20 and Luke 17:6. Question 33. Who demonstrated faith by laying out a fleece to test God's will? A. Gideon. B. Samson. C. Saul. D. David. Answer: A. Gideon. Gideon laid out a fleece to test God's will, asking for dew to appear only on the fleece and not on the ground around it, a sign that God indeed wanted him to save Israel from the Midianites, as recounted in Judges 6:36-40. Question 34. Which disciple's faith is praised by Jesus for recognizing him as the Christ in Matthew 16? A. Peter. B. John. C. Thomas. D. James. Answer: A. Peter. Peter's faith is praised by Jesus when he recognizes Jesus as the Christ, the Son of the living God, in Matthew 16:16-18. Jesus commends Peter for this revelation not being from flesh and blood, but from the Father in heaven. Question 35. How is faith described in relation to the law in Galatians? A. As a replacement for the law. B. As contrary to the law. C. As complementing the law. D. As upheld by the law. Answer: A. As a replacement for the law. In Galatians, Paul describes faith in Christ as something that comes independently of the law, emphasizing that justification is through faith and not adherence to the law, specifically in Galatians 3:23-25. Question 36. What is said about faith in the epistle to the Hebrews regarding unseen realities? A. It is a guarantee of what we hope for and evidence of unseen realities. B. It is less important than seen realities. C. It must be accompanied by proof. D. It is only valid when seen. Answer: A. It is a guarantee of what we hope for and evidence of unseen realities. Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, emphasizing that faith involves spiritual assurance and conviction in the reality of unseen things. Question 37. Which parable told by Jesus illustrates the necessity of persistent faith? A. The parable of the sower. B. The parable of the prodigal son. C. The parable of the persistent widow. D. The parable of the talents. Answer: C. The parable of the persistent widow. The parable of the persistent widow, found in Luke 18:18, illustrates the necessity of persistent faith through the story of a widow who repeatedly appeals to an unjust judge until he grants her justice. Question 38. Who exemplified faith by anointing Jesus' feet with perfume, foreseeing his death? A. Mary Magdalene. B. Martha. C. Mary of Bethany. D. Salome. Answer: C. Mary of Bethany. Mary of Bethany exemplified faith by anointing Jesus' feet with expensive perfume, an act Jesus himself said was in preparation for his burial, highlighting her understanding and faith in what was to come, as recounted in John 12:3-7. Question 39. What vision in Revelation demonstrates the ultimate triumph of faith? A. The opening of the seven seals. B. The Battle of Armageddon. C. The New Jerusalem coming down from heaven. D. The seven trumpets. Answer: C. The New Jerusalem coming down from heaven. The vision of the New Jerusalem coming down from heaven in Revelation 21 symbolizes the ultimate triumph of faith, depicting a future where God dwells with humanity in a renewed creation, free from sin and death. Question 40. How did the early church in Acts demonstrate their faith collectively? A. By building temples. B. By gathering for communal prayer and breaking of bread. C. By isolating themselves from society. D. By accumulating wealth. Answer B. By gathering for communal prayer and breaking of bread. The early church demonstrated their faith collectively by gathering regularly for prayer, teaching, fellowship, and breaking of bread, an expression of their communal faith and support for one another, as described in Acts 2:42-47. Question 41. Who was instructed to build a monument of stones to signify their faith after crossing the Jordan? A. Moses. B. Joshua. C. Samuel. D. Elijah. Answer B. Joshua. Joshua was instructed to build a monument of 12 stones taken from the middle of the Jordan River to signify their faith and God's miraculous aid in crossing the river, as detailed in Joshua 4:1-7. Question 42. What Roman official is recognized for his faith after hearing Paul's preaching? A. Sergius Paulus. B. Felix. C. Festus. D. Herod Agrippa. Answer A. Sergius Paulus. Sergius Paulus, the proconsul of Cyprus, is recognized for his faith after hearing Paul's preaching and witnessing the blinding of a false prophet, leading to his conversion as noted in Acts 13-7-12. Question 43. What book discusses the obedience of faith among all nations? A. Galatians. B. Ephesians. C. Romans. D. Hebrews. Answer C. Romans. The book of Romans discusses the obedience of faith among all nations, particularly in Romans 1-5 and 16:26, highlighting Paul's mission to bring about faithful obedience among all ethnic groups. Question 44. What did Jesus say to Thomas after he affirmed his faith upon seeing the risen Christ? A. You believe because you have seen me. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. B. Your faith has saved you. C. Go and tell the others. D. Do not doubt but believe. Answer A. You believe because you have seen me. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Jesus responded to Thomas's affirmation of faith with a pronouncement that underscores the blessedness of those who believe without seeing, as mentioned in John 20:29. Question 45. How is faith used to overcome the world according to 1 John? A. By obeying the commandments. B. Through love and forgiveness. C. By the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. D. Through continuous prayer. Answer C. By the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. 1 John 5-4 states that everyone born of God overcomes the world, and this victory is achieved through our faith, emphasizing faith as a key element in overcoming worldly challenges and temptations. Question 46. What story of faith involves marching around the city's walls for 7 days? A. The Siege of Ai. B. The Fall of Jericho. C. The Battle of Gibeon. D. The Conquest of Jerusalem. Answer B. The Fall of Jericho. The story of the fall of Jericho involves Israelites marching around the city's walls for 7 days by faith, culminating in the walls collapsing on the 7th day, as recounted in Joshua 6. Question 47. Who restored a man's shriveled hand by faith in the synagogue? A. Jesus. B. Peter. C. Paul. D. John. Answer A. Jesus. Jesus restored a man's shriveled hand on the Sabbath in the synagogue, demonstrating his authority and challenging the Pharisees' legalistic interpretation of the Sabbath, as described in Matthew 12:10-13. Question 48. Who are the two witnesses in Revelation that performed their testimony by faith? A. Moses and Elijah. B. Enoch and Elijah. C. Peter and Paul. D. Two unnamed witnesses. Answer D. Two unnamed witnesses. Revelation 11 describes two witnesses who prophesy and perform miracles by faith for 1,260 days before being killed and later resurrected, serving as powerful symbols of faithful witness in adversity. Question 49. Which apostle is known for writing about the armor that includes the shield of faith? A. Paul. B. Peter. C. James. D. John. Answer A. Paul. The Apostle Paul is known for writing about the armor of God, which includes the shield of faith, in Ephesians 6:10-18, a metaphor for spiritual readiness against evil. Question 50. What does the book of Romans say about how faith comes? A. Through the law. B. By hearing the word of Christ. C. Through personal revelation. D. By witnessing miracles. Answer B. By hearing the word of Christ. Romans 10:17 states that faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word about Christ, emphasizing the importance of the proclaimed gospel in fostering faith.